Hari Om. So I shall continue the part 3 of the Ashtama Vibhaga of Patanjali's Yoga Shastra, which is nothing but Samadhi or Siddhi, whatever we say. Now, the scientific position here is, see, we know we have a deep sleep, Sushupti, as I told you in my earlier this part, and we have what is known as the Samadhi state, and then we have the death state. In all these three, we have a general confusion that the consciousness is not there, neither in deep sleep, nor in the Samadhi state, and nor in the death. We do not know what is there in the after death because consciousness is not there, and we don't come back to our body to feel that I of ourself, to recognize our own self. But in deep sleep, I have told you it is an error because there is no error, but there is an ignorance of that the life is there. You are going to see the world. You are again the world. You are again the body. You are again the I. There is the ignorance. But there is no error in deep sleep because you don't see anything. It's a bliss state. I would not say no. But in the samadhi is a consciousness, loss of consciousness of the I. But in that situation, you do not feel that you are I, but you feel the general consciousness, and you will be able to go into that frequency for you to reach the divine light. Merge with the divine light. That's what Patanjali's Yoga Shastra very clearly says. Otherwise, the latent impressions which you carry after death, consciousness is lost after death, but you carry the latent impressions and they are reborn again. Vishesha Prakriti, I told you all those things of Patanjali's very first, I think it is Vibhuti Padaha, he explains very clearly the first chapter itself. And therefore, they are bound to be reborn, right? In a death, if you do not take a samadhi in a death, what happens? There is no samadhi. You are not intentionally going into a particular type of frequency for you to reach the heavenly light, divine light, so that there is no punarapi maranam and punarapi jananam. But you will carry the latent impressions. A man carries after death the latent impressions, which again coagulates, coalesces and combines together, enters the body and forms a life. Death, the consciousness is lost. So, as per your karma, you are born again. That's what you see. So, Vedas very clearly says, as per your karma only. Everything is as per karma. If you take Gada Upanishad, I have given an extensive lecture of Gada Upanishad by T.S. Viswanathan. You can see word by word meaning. But there, the Yamadharma Raja tells that Nachiketa, a young boy, when he asks the secret of life after death, he says in these words, Yonim anye prabadhyante shariradvaya dehinaha Sthanum anye anusamyanti yata shruta yata karta. Yonim, see the dehinaha, the dehi, yonim anya yonihi, another yoni also, another womb of another living being, a tiger, a lion, a man, a woman, the human being. We do not know wherever there are wombs, all animals we know, wombs which gives birth, we enter there. Or sthanum means immovable like tree stones. Sthanum anye anusamyanti, it enters. Yatha, just like whatever you have. Shruta means generally aham shrunomi, in Sanskrit means I am hearing. But shruta means your desire here. After hearing you desire. And yatha shruta yatha karta, as you do. As your karta means your karma. As you belong to, you have done a particular karma. Suppose a person is a saint, he not attaining the siddhi, or a person is a very good king, he has attained very good karma, done very good karma in the pre-existing birth. That karma done fellow is the karta. So the consciousness enters into the movable or the immovable body, into the womb or to the sthanum. It enters the immovable body also. We do not know the forms as per this desire and as per the shruta means I told you it is hearing. So it hears and desires, and as per its karma. See, that's why in a very beautiful book by Dr. Brian Weiss, I have cited this book, Many Masters, Many Lives. You can read those books. The patient says that she goes and she went in her previous life. The regression is being done for the previous life, and she goes and meets the masters who advises for her not to what she should do, which body she should enter. Suppose a wicked man is there, he has done a lot of sins. He wants to merge with the Almighty, means he has to enter and suffer the equivalent amount of joy he had in the previous birth by doing evil act. The same amount of sorrow also he has to undergo by doing whatever it is. The same amount of sorrow he had, the same amount of happiness he had, the same amount of sorrow also, so that it cancels, and then he will find a chance to merge his consciousness with the Paramatma. That is the science. That is the science they are emphasizing even in Patanjali's Yoga Shastra. Otherwise, you are carrying your latent impressions. In a deep sleep or in a death, you will be carrying afterwards. In a death, you are carrying your latent impressions, and then you again will be reborn again. Very clearly, I have told verses number 1, 23, 24, and all I have quoted in that Vibhuti Padaha, I think. So, the point is, this is the point. This is the point that rebirth is certain. Vasamsi jirnani yatha vihaya navani grihnati naraha aparani. Very famous words, verse number 22, Gita, Bhagavad Gita chapter. The man, digested body, the soul throws away and enters a new body, just like a man throws away his old garments and enters a garment. The garment stays on our body for 8 hours, whereas the soul stays inside the body for 80 years. For example, I am just giving you. Notably also, even if you take a lot of Siddhas and a lot of Tamil saints have quoted this. If you not only Tamil saints, saints in Hindi language, saints in Telugu, brilliant saints we have had in India, brilliant in all the languages, brilliant. One example I will give you of Manikya Vachakar. He influenced so much G.U. Pope when he came here to India as a Christian missionary, that G.U. Pope insisted that while he is being buried, he has to carry the Manikya Vachakar's Tiruvachakam in his coffin box. He has to be buried along with the coffin box. Now, what did Manikya Vachakar say? He says in his beautiful, everybody knows this, there are cinema songs also on this, Pullai, Pullagi, Pudai, Puruvai. So, you can be a pull, a Pudai, a Puruvai, Maramagi, Pal Virugamagi. Animals with teeth, canines. Pal Virugamagi, Paravayai, Pambai. So you can be a paravai, or you can be a pambu, or kallai. You can be a stone, immovable, sthanu manye anusamyanti, kallai, manidharai also, peyai also, ganangalai also, val asurargalai, devargalai, munivarai. See, you can be all these things. Munivarai, sella nindra it tavara sangamatul. This tavara, if this is a stavara means permanent sangamatul, the body. You can be born and born and born and again unless you know Shiva. That's what he means. You can be a bird, you can be a stone, you can be a devar, you can be a asura. So, I am a asura. It's all your previous karma as you have done. See, God is so kind that He has to give you a level playing ground. He cannot give you different playing grounds. One is born rich, one is born poor, and He cannot in one life judge and say you go to hell, you go to heaven. There may be defective brains. There may be people with kleptomania who have the urge to steal. They are called kleptomaniacs, megalomaniacs, hypochondriacs, serial killers. They are all defective brains. Who created? While they were born, they were created like that. So who created them? God created. So God cannot judge with all these differences in creation. He should have a level playing field and there cannot be one birth. That is why Hinduism is very scientific. Very, very scientific. Matter cannot be created or destroyed, and that's what Einstein also says. You cannot create it, it has to be born. So Vedas finally say, in order to avoid the Punarjanma and Punar Marana, birth and death cycle, you have to merge, you have to enter into the state of Samadhi. And then you will go into that frequency, BBC frequency or all India the frequency. If you travel in that frequency, there will be a Deva who will take you to the divine light, Brahman. From that Brahman, this Avartanam, this coming back is not there. Etatu Vaitatu. They very clearly say in Chandogya Upanishad. So you cannot come. What happens 6 months? The soul, life after the soul leaves the body, 6 months it goes to the northern direction. It's very beautifully explained. See, that is what I think Edgar Mitchell, I think he was a 14th astronaut in the Apollo mission going to the moon. As he was entering the earth, he suddenly felt a blind light or suddenly felt about this Hindu Shastra of Sa Vikalpa Samadhi. You got Nirvikalpa Samadhi and Sa Vikalpa Samadhi. One is an optional Samadhi and one is a Nirvikalpa Samadhi. Means there is no option. Vikalpa means options, choices or something. So that which has Vikalpa, he wanted, that is, you can enter into the Samadhi and be unattached, detached with the worldly thing. Absolutely you will not find a difference between a flower and a fruit or a good and a bad. You will be in that state. Or Nirvikalpa Samadhi, where your body, your Atma, your consciousness, our consciousness merges with the divine light. So there is no Punarapi Maranam and Punarapi Jananam. Nobody wants Punarapi Jananam also, I think most of us. So this is the philosophy of Patanjali's Yoga Shastra, which very clearly tallies with whatever is being said in the yogas. Everywhere you take the yoga, they all talk of Paramatma, merging with the Paramatma. Otherwise, worshipping the God or chanting God's name is very good. It will mitigate. In Mahabharata war, we saw the arrow which should have struck Arjuna in the head, struck his turban. That means God says, see, you are responsible for your karma. You have chosen the karma acts on you. But by chanting God's name, the karma, the evil which you are going to can be mitigated. If you take a paracetamol, you have a bad disease, but if you take a paracetamol, the headache is mitigated. But you are responsible finally for the internal whatever mistake it is the body has. But it is mitigated. Whenever you chant, go on frequently chanting, it gets mitigated 10 to 15%, you say. I am just giving as a broad example. I am not the author, but I am just telling. It gets definitely mitigated. You undergo your karma for whatever you have destined, your Atma is destined, you undergo that karma because you cannot avoid it, or you have to take another karma, another jivan, another body, and you have to spend that evil or whatever you have done. Everybody does evil things also, mostly 99%, except our saints, our sannyasis who are all meditating. So, normal man, just by lying, a small lie, is a mistake, is a evil karma. So they have to pay. You have to pay. As Buddha says, no free lunch. In management science also, everything we have to pay. So that is why we insist on doing good acts, especially service to others, helping others, charity to the deserving people, without expecting any reward. Variyarku ஒன்றீவதே ஈகை மற்றெல்லாம் குறியதற்பை நீர துடைத்து, said our Thiruvalluvar. You give charity without any expectation. So, dhanam is very important, but with good intentions. Therefore, one has to pay for his acts. That is very simple. That is what Patanjali Yoga Shastra of Patanjali, yaha, gam. Gam is what is meant going or even learning knowledge, you can say. Gam is a dhatu. Yaha, one. Yaha yav ye yam, who. One. Who, like that. Yaha, prathama vibhakti ekavachanam. So, that unification of all these things is what is Yoga Shastra. Physical exercise, physiotherapy, Dhanurashanam or Sarvangasanam came later on, developed on that, for your body to be strong, for you to perform the Yoga Shastra. Sukhasana sthala sthitva tatra upavishya. If you want to do the Yoga Shastra, you have to have a strong body. If probably you may not take food for some time. That is also welcome. But Patanjali's yoga means it's always unification with the Almighty. That is what the Shastra very clearly explains. Patanjali's Yoga Shastra 195 to 196, some say, is the shlokas. There are 4 vibhagas, basic vibhagas. It's very, very important for humanity. I wish all of you can go through that. Probably if time permits, I would do a word-to-word meaning decipher on that shloka. Sanskrit to English and to Hindi and to Tamil I can do. So more of this we shall see. Until such time, Bhuyat, Tavat, Shiva Mangalam, Hari Om.